Blackburn Rovers' final game of this decade ends with a 1-1 draw, but the real bad news comes filtering through Ewood Park is the current state of affairs with Bradley Dack and his injury. We'll tell you all about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with a bit of an update. That's right, folks, back once again with another match preview. That's right, folks, back once again with another match review. This time picking apart Blackburn Rovers' latest match up against a Birmingham City. We'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, championship related, world football related, all here under Warowski. That's right, games are coming thick and fast, too fast for me. I'm all over the place right now, so, yeah, the real bad news coming out of it, obviously the result is not great, but the real bad news is Bradley Dack, and it looks like he's out for at least 12 months, which means, he ain't going anywhere. He ain't going anywhere, so he'll be with us for another season. It looks like no one's going to touch him with the basketball, which is absolutely horrific for him. I thought he would be gone in the summer, but obviously this injury is going to put that on the back burners and put a massive potential dent in the long-term plans for Rovers, because he is a master part of the ingredients that make us who we are. But we'll talk more about that later, probably in even a separate video, actually, on the match preview for Huddersfield. But anyway, let's go take a look at the match in a bit more detail, shall we? So Blackburn Rovers and Birmingham could only manage a 1-1 draw in the end. A bit of a sour one for Rovers fans, if we're completely honest with you. 2 points dropped for us. But I think it's a massive point for Birmingham in the grand scheme of things, because they were looking pretty wobbly. I think it was 3 defeats on the spin for them, and they just didn't know when the next point was coming from, but they got it today, courtesy of a Mrabti penalty. That's right, he equalised on the 63rd minute after just a few minutes prior. Adam Armstrong converted for Rovers after Sam Gallagher was brought down in the area by I think it was Harding for Birmingham City. A game offered very little. It was devoured of quality, devoured of creativity as well. Something that is clearly highlighted with that lack of Bradley Daccarino, and it's something that we need to adapt to. We have to become a new sort of force, a different style of play. We haven't got the creative genius that is Daccarino on the pitch no more for the foreseeable future. So we have to play a different style to suit the players that are on the pitch. And today we just couldn't do it. Let's take a look at some of the stats and numbers there for you. 58.2% possession for Rovers. We did boss it a little bit. It was a bit of a slow start for us to get a hold of the ball. We also had better successes with our passing. 57% of the passes reached the intended target, with 55% for Birmingham. They did dominate the aerial tackles as expected, and also tackles on the ground. Rovers did have more corners than they did, 3-2. So let's take a look at the starting lineups for you. Here is Rovers: Walton between sticks, Bell, Williams, Lenihan and Nyambe at the back four, Johnson and Bennett in those defensive midfields. Like Buckley got the nod in the number 10 spot alongside Armstrong, Holtby and big Sam Gallagher led the way against his old club. Unfortunately, he couldn't find the back of the net. My match ratings for the players, let's take a look at them now. Walton with a 6, Bell with a 5, Williams 6, Lenihan with a 6, Nyambe with a 7, forever running down that right hand side. Johnson got a 6 and Bennett got a 5 as well. It was a bit hard done by maybe on Bennett, but it was just so bland and boring and amongst the whole team. So he's just going to take a knock. He's captain. He should be standing up for the jersey, for the badge. I just felt that we lacked a bit something today. Armstrong gets a 7 mainly for the goal. We did have a couple of opportunities as well to burst through the lines and get some other shots on target. But unfortunately, no. Buckley was good, but not great. Had some really good moments for him. He didn't play the full 90 though. Did also have some defensive frailties among his teammates as well. So he every 2 or 3 chances he'd go for, they'd create at least one error, which kind of a sloppy pass, back pass. But sloppy pass was one of the topics of the day. It's just throughout the teams, both teams, no one was consistent with their passing. It just felt a very hungover, sloppy display by both sides. Holtby with a 6 and Gallagher with a 6. In all honesty, a draw is a fair result from the play, because it was so tedious, so dire and devout of anything good that a football game should have. So we were once we got the lead, I thought, you know what, we can hang tight here. We will get this. We'll get 3 points. But unfortunately, a comedy of errors. I think it was Amari Bell brought the man down, and there was no question. It was a stonewaller of a penalty. So yeah, a bit shitty to take the lead. I thought if we had that lead for a little bit longer, I think we probably would have got a second goal and then would have put the game to bed. But I think the referee kind of felt it justified to reward the penalty, even though it was a stonewaller, but he was he was definitely looking, because once you got one, you wanted to give the other. As for Birmingham, they started with this treatment between Sticks, Pedersen, Dean, Harding and Colleen, who scored the goal at St Andrews. Davis, Gardner, those defensive midfield slots, Mrabti, Magoma, Bella and Jukowicz up top. We'll do it all again, folks, though. We'll do it all again in a couple of days' time when we take on Birmingham at their place once again for the third time this season, but this time it'll be in the FA Cup. So hopefully, we've already lost one against them, but now we've drawn one. Hopefully we'll snatch the win against them at St Andrews and kind of reset the clocks a little bit and then move on to the next one. But we'll wait and see about that. But anyway, so let's take a look at some more numbers for you. Passes, we did have more passes than they did, 402 to their 286. That also amounted to more touches, 603 to their 476. Down the bottom there, you can take a look at where the shots took place. We also had a header by, I think it's Derek Williams, towards the back end. It was like the final 6-7 minutes header that hit the bar or the crossbar. So we were unfortunate right at the death not to snatch it. That would have pushed us over the line. We did create a lot more chances in the second half. The first half was very dour, and I wouldn't want to watch that 45 minutes of football ever again. Yeah, unfortunately, not the best of performance, but it was a case of rotating the squad. We saw the likes of Buckley come in, Johnson come in, Bennett, Holtby, Gallagher, and the likes of Travis, Rothwell, Graham, Downing, all rested. Dominic Samuel was on the bench, so that was good to see, and maybe we'll see him at the Huddersfield game or even in the FA Cup against Birmingham when we come around again. If you're a heat map man just like me, take a look at this. This is where all the action zones were. Looks like Walton was one of the busiest of the players on the pitch with the red spot right there, or red zone. That's where a lot of the action took place. Looked like Rovers were very spread out across the field here. Again, no Dak to really hog the limelight. It was a bit more of a team effort once again, but unfortunately it only mastered a point in the end. But you've heard a little bit what I've had to say. What about the gaffer? What did he have to say about this match? Here he is with his verdict, and maybe even a little bit of tidbit about Bradley Dacarino.
Yeah, I think so. I think let's not beat about the bush. It wasn't a very good football match, I'd have to say. I think... But when we got 1-0 up through a penalty, I was struggling to see how they were going to score an equaliser. But whether we said it was a poor decision from Amari or a poor decision from the officials, doesn't really matter now. We're sitting here or stood here, 2 drop points in a game where it was always going to be difficult for us. I think their selection suggested before the game that they were coming to make sure they didn't take another 3-0 beating like they did in the last away game. I think they're pretty solid in midfield with Gardner and Davies, and so yeah, frustrating. It wasn't a very good football match, as I said. We have to accept that we found it difficult to create chances today, as they did. As I say, I didn't think they could score today, but they were given a penalty and we have to take the point. Yeah, and I said on Monday night, I think Rabayo was a big miss when you playing out from the back. It's because he's the best player we've got at playing out from the back, most consistent, and helps our attacking midfield players to get the ball wrapped at them like he can. But there's no excuses. As I said, I think they set up to make it really difficult to play through their lines. It's not easy when you're trying to do that, and every now and then they intercept and they can break on you. It's just whether you want to keep persevering or whether you want to go over the top and hit long balls and turn them round, which is a 50-50 option really for you. But I don't know what else to say. It was a poor game. I didn't enjoy watching it. I don't know what their manager thought, but goodness me. We just have to move on. We'll be better as we move forward, and let's see where we go. Yeah, you know that, I know that, the team know that. We're all disappointed. It's 2 draws at home is not what we were looking for. 6 points would have been great, however you played. But as I said, no team in this division lays down for you. It's Wigan came fighting for their lives on bottom of the table. Had drawn, is that their 4th draw? They drew again today. Another 4 draws on the bounce for them. They're fighting for their lives, and as I said, I think Birmingham's last game was a 3-0 defeat away at Hull, which they will have been not too happy about. So they were trying to put that right, and ultimately we didn't have enough quality mind to break them down to create as many chances as we would have liked to have won the game.
I've heard what the gaffers have to say, but a little bit what I've had to say. What about the fans? What do they say on social media? Well, let's take a little look, shall we? Rob Young said this, bit disappointing, but shows we're a difficult team to beat. This time last season, we were conceded late on, still unbeaten, still in the playoff mix, onwards and upwards. That's positivity for you. Carl Smith, really, really poor again. Players that seemed frightened of the playoffs, need to freshen up in January. I think I sent it back to free up Williams to be reserve left back, as Bell is an absolute jewel. talk. Adam Towski said, 2 missed opportunities, typical Rovers, and I'm struggling to see where our goals are coming from. Now Dak is out for the season. Aaron Lomax said this, exactly why we won't get into the playoffs. Even though unbeaten run, we do not have enough in the team to beat teams who put loads of men behind the ball. 4 points dropped, in my opinion. Indeed, it was. Pricey M said there's 2 defensive in our play. Didn't need 2 holding midfielders against a poor team like Brum. Marcus RTID said, poor performance, another 2 points dropped, but at least we are still on an unbeaten run. That amounts to nothing in the end. But it's 2 points out of 6. Not great. Moving forward. What else we got over here? We have Rodri the Dragon. No, we don't. We have James Barron. He said, baffles me how we can go from such a good performances against Brentford and Bristol City to get such boring performances against Wigan and Birmingham. Every time we can hit the playoffs, it happens. Meanwhile, Jimmy said this, that was shocking. Sam Gallagher can't win a header to save his life. Bell can't tackle to save his life. No urgency at all. 2 easy games at home thrown away. Games we shouldn't need to worry about. On to the next. Mikey Delap said this, tough to take as Birmingham effectively shithoused their way through the last 20 minutes of the game. Not enough being generated from open play today. A point far from a disgrace, but not desired. Bell, Johnson and Buckley, the best on show for Rovers. Talk of Ewood, bit of a killer, not a great performance by any account, but felt it was one we could have won. Another point in the bag, and we stay unbeaten. 2 teams that could have come, that have come to kick us up the arse and stop us playing. 2 points that could have easily been 6 or easily been 0. BRSCS.com said there's 2 points from a week that offered opportunities for 4 more, but the unbeaten run continues. So that's something. This week demonstrates that we are lacking cutting edge, and with no Dak, the January window will be instructive as to ambitions. Becky said this, feels very disappointing after getting 2 points from the 2 winnable games at home. The American Rover, aka Sean, Bell in general was solid, but he's responsible for the goal. Buckley showed some nice touches and vision, but he's still a little soft. Jay said this, if we won the games we should have won, such as today, Monday, Luton, etc., will be actually in the playoffs. Don't get why we are so inconsistent. And James Robinson said this, poor game we should have won, but for a brain-dead decision from Bell. He is horrendous, shouldn't be anywhere near the squad. We need signings in January if we have any hopes of the playoffs. But we're in the mix, folks. We are in the mix of the playoffs. But let's take a look at what's the other results that took place this Boxing Day. Middlesbrough did beat Huddersfield earlier. Cardiff and Mill drew 1-1. Wigan and Derby drew 1-1. Luton and Fulham, though, they went with a 3-3 draw. Brentford did beat Swansea for a victory. Charlton did beat Bristol City 3-2 to continue their slump. Stoke City did pick up a victory also against Sheffield Wednesday 3-2 as well to continue their rise. Barnsley picked up a valuable point against West Brom. Forest picked up a 2-0 win away from home to Hull City. And Leeds and Preston duked out to a 1-1 draw in the later kickoff. And Reading beat QPR in the late game out of the Championship. This is what the table looks like at the moment. West Brom lead the way with 51 points. Leeds are in second spot with 48. Brentford are closing in on 8 points adrift in third spot. Sheffield Wednesday 4th. Fulham 5th. Preston 6th. Rovers up to 9th. That is an increase of what we were before kick-off. Down the bottom, Wigan, Barnsley and Luton Town going down as it stands to League One next season. But 2020 is just around the corner. But before then, we have one more game to wrap up 2019. And these are those taking place on the majority on 29th of December with one game on New Year's Eve. So the games are Fulham against Stoke, Baggies against Middlesbrough, Millwall against Brentford, Forest against Wigan, Birmingham against Leeds, QPR against Hull City, Sheffield Wednesday against Cardiff City, Preston taking on Reading, Bristol City taking on Luton, Swansea City taking on Barnsley, and Derby County taking on Charlton. But the game of the weekend will be at the Kirklees, the John Smiths, whatever you want to call it, the McAlpine, whatever it is. It will be Huddersfield up against Rovers. We've already played each other once. It was a 2-2 draw back at Ewood Park earlier in the campaign. I think it was on Sky TV as well, if I'm completely honest with you. So we go again on the 29th, which is Sunday, folks. So hopefully we can get back to winning ways on that bad boy. But that, my friends, is it. But the real question marks remain about Bradley Dacarino. How bad? Is it as bad as made out? I think so. I think it's definitely out for the season. Knee surgery is the element of doubt. It could be years or it could be months. But it's a very, very damaging scenario that's happened to us at Ewood Park, and it's put probably a massive dent, if not an irretrievable dent in our playoff ambitions. If any other player that we would have had to lose, it would be Dacarino. I think next up, if the next player you don't want to lose will be Darrell Lennon. I think he's a commanding presence in the back, and without him, he would be absolutely toast. Would be rotten, Johnny Rotten at the back. But we're Johnny Rotten in the midfield now. We've got, that's one thing we do have. We have plenty of midfielders. It's just to see who will step up. We have the likes of Holtby. We have the likes of Rothwell, Buckley as well to come in to try and create something out of midfield. Joe Ronke, Costello maybe can come into it. Harry Chapman, step forward, sunshine. This is your time to shine as well. Maybe maybe a change of formation, go to a 4-4-2. I don't know. It's in Mowbray's hands. We'll leave it with him for now. But until then, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the thumbs up. If you're new, smash the subscribe. Back tomorrow, back later on for a preview of the next game, which is Huddersfield Town against Rovers. So stick around for that sucker. But until then, I'm out of here. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.